Hey guys, welcome to the ASB Pro Guide's Vagabond Guide. In this video I'm going to be flying a dual large ASB Vagabond, and you can see I have links in system. I've also got the implants that you've already seen in the previous videos, and I'm running the drugs. You can see I have standard blue pill and synth. I'm not sure if I took the drugs for this fight. We'll see if I take them once the fight starts. You can look at directional scan there. We got a Tristan, Comrant, Corax, Coercer, Condor, and Catalyst. Now, what I do when I'm coming in on a fight like this is the first thing I do is I keep in mind what I can take, and I think about what DPS is on the field. I say the Catalyst, maybe 300, Coercer, maybe 1 to 200, Condor, maybe 50. I go through like that, and I figure based on what I see here, they've got anywhere from 400 if they're terrible to maybe 800 if they're good. So I figured that I can probably tank it long enough, even though their peak DPS could be more than I can tank nonstop. I can probably tank it long enough to get some DPS off the field, which is what I do the moment I go in there. My first priority is the Catalyst. The Catalyst puts out more DPS than anything else on the field. If everything's fit perfectly and flown correctly, the Catalyst is my biggest threat. Therefore, I want to fight against the Catalyst and try to get him off the field first. He's down. I'm going to go for the Incursus, or the Tristan, my bad. And once I'm done with that, I should switch, because you can see that Comrant's right beside me. He probably puts out a decent amount of DPS. So I want to go for him next, I think. I should be overloading my ASBs, because overloading gets you a 10% effect bonus amount, as well as I think 15% duration. It sucks that it doesn't last as long, but you get more per boost, and so you net a better effect. I'm not managing my boosters very well here by running both when I should only be running one at a time. I'm kind of messing up. The problem I'm having with this Comrant, and you'll notice this if you fly the Vagabond, is that the Comrant, even being a cruiser, he's managing to keep some transversal on me, and I can't track him very well. You'll notice I miss. It's my drones that are doing the majority of the DPS to him. If a frigate with an afterburner gets in close on you and orbits you in this Vagabond, your only real way of getting away is to newt and move away from him so you can get tracking. So I got the Comrant down. Now I'm going to go for the Corax, which is about 10k away. Good news is I can track him at that range. He's far enough away to where I'm going to get good tracking on him. Also, because I have links in system with Hans there, I've got boosted point range. The links are for point range, shield, resist, and something else I forget. I'll probably tell you that in another video. You see I got out there. It was looking really scary. I ran out of boosters, and the Coercer was still hitting me. I felt like I was about to die. I didn't know what was coming in, if maybe they had backup. I hadn't run my directional in a while. I had felt like, you know, I pushed it to the limit. I was in structure, and I figured I was probably dead. Truth is, because those boosters showed up right as I was warping out, and also had I managed my boosters a little bit better, had I overloaded a little bit more, I think maybe I could have played that fight out and done a little bit better, stayed on the field. I don't know. The Coercer was about 30k off, so I would have had to charge in to get him if I was to go after him. But it wasn't really worth the risk. I've got, you know, a relatively expensive ship here. No reason to take the risk. In this video, I'm in the Vagabond still, and I'm taking on a Sci-Fi, a Sith or Scythe fleet issue, however you want to say it, as well as some of his friends. You see there's Tristan, Navitas, and Imperial Navy Slicer there. Now, going into this is also faction warfare. I did most of my fights in faction warfare because it's steady. It's steady fights. You get the fights bang, 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 almost non-stop. Now, that's not always true, because some nights it's slow and you can't find a fight no matter what you do. But other nights, it's pretty consistent, and certainly more so than 0-0. It's more consistent in finding fights. So I see what I have here. I know this is going to be a tough fight. I believe I've already taken my drugs. I'm not sure. I was trying to point that Comrant there outside the plex, because if I could kill him outside, then go in and kill the rest of the stuff, that gives me a little edge. Going into this, I was actually going after the Sci-Fi, the Scythe fleet issue. That was my main target, and I was going to just kind of collateral damage, kill all the frigs. So I come in, I land, I see there's a fight going on, it looks like, I go ahead and I point up the Cormorant there, and I start shooting the Cormorant. I want to take out the support really quick if I can, because I'm not sure who's fighting who at this point. It's a little bit hard to tell. Basically, you can look who's yellow and who's not. That gives you an idea. But my tank's holding right now. They're putting all their DPS on the Scythe. I can tell by looking at him. He's been having to tank them for a while. So I want to try to, right now, seeing as I'm not taking any DPS, the smart move may have been to switch over to the Scythe a little bit sooner, but now I'm starting to notice it. And I'm also noticing that I'm not doing very much damage to this Tristan that I'm shooting at. This Tristan actually did a really good job, you're going to see. So I'm slowly working through the Tristan, but it's not going very fast. I'm not taking any DPS. I'm not taking any kind of damage. And so I decide, well, what's the most valuable thing on field that I would, if I can kill anything here, what would I rather kill? That's the Scythe Fleet issue. So I decide, let's put our guns on the Scythe Fleet issue. Our guns aren't tracking the Tristan anyway, or barely. So let's put our guns on the Scythe Fleet issue. Let's take him down first, then I'll go to these other frigates. So and you see that's actually working pretty well. He's also shield tanked, probably ASB. And I'm just now starting to take a little bit of DPS. Once I started shooting him, he turned his guns onto me as well. But I believe the Tristan, it looks like, if you look up in the overview there, you can see the Tristan is still shooting him. So I decided to put my drones on the Scythe Fleet issue to give it a little bit more DPS on him. And I go ahead and put my Newt on the Tristan, anticipating that I'm going to have to switch to him, and I'm not going to be able to get out of this plex until I kill that Tristan. That's my worry. So Scythe Fleet issue is in armor. He's slowly going down. I've barely had to run my tank. You'll notice in a lot of these videos that I keep my tank, my shield, right at about 30%. I'll somewhere between 10 and 50%, basically. And what I'm doing there is not only my bait tanking a little bit, trying to make it look like I'm struggling, but I'm also trying to make the most of my natural recharge. It gets you a little bit more bang for your buck when you're playing with the ASB or any shield booster for that matter. So now I'm everything on to the Tristan. The Navitas I don't think is going to be much threat to me. He doesn't even seem like he's doing anything. I'm looking now, and yeah, I don't see a whole lot of anything coming from. There's no red box, so he's not doing anything in this fight. I don't know why he's here or what, but the Tristan's not doing enough DPS to me to be of any concern. But what he is doing is he's scramming me, so I can't get away. He's scramming me and keeping me in this plex, potentially for his blues or friends to come and get me, or for just some random guy passing by to come and get me. So I don't want to stay here. If I can't kill this guy, I want to get out. So you can see I'm just trying, and everything I can, I'm trying to keep at. If you use keep at instead of orbit, you're going to get better tracking because you're moving away from him, and hopefully he's having to chase you. But since he's so much faster than me, he's still able to keep his transversal and keep running across those guns, which is causing a lot of trouble. He's killing my drones because my drones are the only thing that's killing him, and he knows that. Like I said, he's doing it right. He's playing the fight in a good way. So right now what I'm hoping is that I can keep moving away from him and away from the entrance of the plex. So if new people come in, they're going to land away from me. So I'm going to keep moving in one direction away from the entrance, and I'm going to keep trying to shoot at him with my guns, which it looks like if I got a shot in right there and not have been reloading, I would have done fairly well. But I'm not even sure what I'm switching my ammo to. I think I switched it to Barrage to try to kill the Navitas, which you can see it does do good damage to him. The question is, does he die or warp out? Yeah, I'm still scrammed. I'm hoping my Newt right now, the Newt is more times than not, the Newt will save your ass. So I have a couple options here for just getting away. The Navitas is too far to shoot, so I'm going to reload to a different ammo. You can see he just dropped his point. That's because I'm Newting him. I missed the opportunity. But there it drops again. You see his point going on and off as I Newt him. He's struggling to maintain his point. The Newt has saved my butt so many times. So the options I have here is to spam the micro warp drive and wait for that point to drop like it did just right there. Nope, he got it back before I get the micro warp drive on. If I can be moving away from him And it doesn't even look like my ship's doing that now. I'm not sure. If I can be moving away from him and hit that micro warp drive and get a single pulse in to get me maybe 5-6K, my guns are going to do a ton of damage to him. The second option is, if I see that that's not working, which I'm starting to realize it is, I'm starting to get worried that maybe something else is coming, I can just align to something and spam warp until his point drops, and as long as I'm aligned, even a small fraction of a second drop in his point, like it did right, well, I guess not right there, but even a small drop in his point is going to let me escape. So let's watch. So right now I'm just trying to escape. That's my priority. And I should have got away right there. So I'm still struggling, I suppose. The thing with the scram is scrams take almost no cap to initiate. So even if you're cap deading someone with a newt, scrams take almost no capacitor to get going. So it's very, you got to really work at it sometimes. Usually it's easier than that. But he was no doubt spamming it, trying to get it to come back on every time it turned off. So it was a good fight. I killed the sci-fi and I think a Cameron or something. It was pretty good. So here I'm in nullsec. I think this is the only nullsec video that I have for the whole Vagabond footage. And what I was doing here is I wanted to kill the claw. This is what I was kind of thinking, but mostly I was just feeling these guys out, looking for an opportunity. If I got the chance to isolate the Vagabond or the Cinnabal, I might give it a go, but the problem is I can't take both of them at the same time. It's too much DPS. Now we got a Thrasher. So I'm pretty much doing what I'd spend most of my time doing when I'm PvPing, especially in nullsec, is I'm just looking for opportunities. I'm playing around looking for opportunities. Now, mistake, as we saw at the beginning, this was Vagabond mistakes. I, for some reason, wasn't paying attention, I don't know, just messed up. And I let that Vagabond get in way too close. You see, I hit my warp, but I don't think I warped to what I was aligned to, or something. And boom, I'm pointed. So I think I warped to something I wasn't aligned to, and by the time I aligned, he had me pointed. So now, I'm forced into this fight. I have no option. I've got to fight this Vagabond. But at the same time, I realize that there's very little chance I can tank these guys forever and get away. So, best choice for me is to try to keep this fight moving, and if I'm going to move in any direction, let's move towards the gate. So, I got the micro warp drive on, I'm overloading it some, I'm trying to keep this thing going as fast as possible. Whenever the Vaga gets close to me, I try to give him a newt cycle. I want to keep his capacitor low, keep mine high if at all possible. He's got his newt on me, I put mine on him. I'm going to really conserve those ASB charges because I do not want to use them up. I don't want to burn out my micro warp drive, but I do want to get to that gate as fast as possible. I started out like 300K from that gate, and I am just trying to work hard to get to that gate. So you can see I'm backing them off as they come close. You know, the claw comes close, I back them off. The Vaga, and they're all here. They brought in more. Now they got a Falcon. Had I fought, what do you know, they've been a Falcon. These guys, I've seen them in PF all the time. They always use the stupid Falcon. Irritates the heck out of me to have to fight somebody who not only blobs you but also uses a Falcon. I mean, if you blob somebody, fine. If you use a Falcon, fine, but don't do both. Give them a chance. So, anyways, I'm still burning here. Conservatively using my ASB to the best of my ability to try to not burn it out, overloading it for one cycle each time. I've actually set that left ASB there to be a single shot so it doesn't auto-repeat, so that way I don't have to worry about it running on and on when it shouldn't. You can see I was just scram-webbed by a rupture. So, now I was scrammed by the Thrasher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my newt over onto that Thrasher if he gets close. I'm getting real close to that gate now. I'm webbed. I'm 5K off the gate. I'm moving towards it. So now I've decided to de-aggro. So I'm de-aggroing. I'm close enough to the gate. I've actually de-aggroed by the looks of it like 45 seconds ago. I must not have noticed. Been talking too much. So I've de-aggroed. I'm slowly just trying to get my aggro off, not get bumped, and run my tank enough to stay alive here. So just constantly try to move towards the center of that gate. Not just approach, move towards the center, because I don't want to be at the edge of the radius. I want to be inside the radius if I can. And boom, I'm through. So magically, I made a massive mistake there that should have cost me my ship. but magically I managed to get away with it and escape. So that was pretty awesome. Alright, here is one of my favorite fights in the Vagabond. I played this one really well. I think I flew and piloted really well. Now, everybody makes mistakes. Keep that in mind. Don't get too upset at yourself if you do something stupid. God knows I do stupid stuff every night. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of work that goes into getting good footage, and you make dumb mistakes all the time. But it feels really good to have a fight go down where you feel like you executed pretty well. You can never do it perfect. And some people may look at it and think it's perfect, but those people, if it was themselves, they would start to see the problems. When you do it yourself, you know more what you're doing wrong. And once again, I'm going to try to point this coercer and kill him before I go in. Didn't work out. Scan shows the Vexor, Kestrel, and Coercer. I can take that as long as it's just that. But as I'm going in, I see a Griffin. I don't like the Griffin. Right now, seeing the Griffin tells me I have no way to fight back if he gets in and he gets on me. I need to burn off the center of this plex. Oh yeah, there's 2 Fed Navy comets. And it looks like they were fighting when I got there. They warped off. I'm not sure. They're gone now. So I'm going to start burning. Luckily, nothing gets a scram or a web on me when I first come in. So this is what I'm talking about, good execution. I came in and I immediately started burning off the entrance to the plex. You can see that the Kestrel's trying to keep with me and keep me pointed, so he's my first threat that I want to kill. I'm going to keep burning off so I can spread their DPS. Worst case scenario, I move outside the Griffin's range. Griffin can't point me. I can kill something can't jam me, and I can kill something while he's out of the jam range. So I'm using speed and range to control how much I fight at once. If I were to just sit there at the entrance, I've got everything right on top of me. Lots of DPS, plus the jams. Here, out past 100, Griffin can't lock me. He can't jam me. This Kestrel, he's coming in, and the Coercer's coming in, and they're all out of range for that Griffin. The Griffin has now warped off. And I think I may have had the Griffin... I'm not sure if it was this fight or another one. I put my drones on him, I think, at one point. It may have been a different fight. So now I'm just trying to kill what's nearest to me. I'm trying not to get too far away, keep it right around 100k, and see what I can kill. You see there we got a Fed Navy Comet. So that's a good target. He's coming in hard. So I want to get DPS onto him as he comes in, get the nude as soon as possible, because he's going to try to scram and go tight on me. So I want to try to keep him right in that sweet spot between roughly 10 and 20k. He's getting too far now. I should have put my drones on him. That was a mistake. So he's outside my gun range at this point. So I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on. There's another Fed Navy Comet coming at me. So same thing. Let's get guns and drones on this guy. Hopefully I get the drones on him. I don't know why I'm just letting this Vexor kill my drones. That's a mistake. Get my guns on this guy. The first one got away. I'm going to try to prevent this Fed Navy Comet from getting away. And there you can see I'm looking at the fire tail that was coming at me. I just killed the Fed Navy Comet. I'm going to try to kill this guy. My tank has not been tested whatsoever yet because they haven't been able to do DPS on me. So basically for the first part of this fight, I've been running this fight the way I would run a nano ship, pretty much. Drag them out, stretch them out, isolate, and kill. Pretty much I'm fighting this fight like I would fight it almost the same as if I was in the SFI from the SFI Pro Guide. Or if you've seen the updates to that, I actually did a nano sci-fi, which I think is quite good. You can see here I'm trying to drop this fire tail. I'm right up close, a little bit too close. I'm trying to moderate my range, not let him get too far, but then again, not let him get too close. You can see now he's backed off a little bit farther than I'd like. So I'm just trying to keep it all under control. The Fed Navy Comet's too close to me, so I need to move DPS to him. And you can see he's warped up. Fire tail has warped off. It looked like I did, but I was looking at the fire tail, so it made it look like I did, but it wasn't me. So now I'm back onto this Fed Navy Comet. I've already killed one Fed Navy Comet. So I want to kill this guy. He's in close. I'm having a little bit of trouble tracking him. So I'm keeping my nude on him to try to get him to back off a little bit so I can get tracking. I'm keeping moving in the same direction so that these guys can't get closer. You can see that everybody's moving towards me, and so I want to do as much as I can to make it take as long as possible for them to get to me, because I'm scram-webbed right now. So I need to kill as much as I can before they actually get to me. So I want this Fed Navy Comet dead, and he's not dying. So I take my guns off him and figure, okay, let's switch to this Kestrel, who I think I can actually hit. And let's switch to him momentarily, and maybe I can drop him. No, I decided to go back. I thought I would have went to the Kestrel. I went back to the Fed Navy Comet. Now he's in structure. I'm hoping I can get a couple really just lucky shots on him and just drop this guy. You see, he's panicking now. He panicked and he died. He got a little bit deep into structure and he started getting worried and he hit warp out. And as soon as he tried to warp out, his ship lost his transversal and he died. Now I'm onto that Kestrel. Kestrel's far enough out to where I can track perfect. Just awesome. Kill him easy. You can see the Vexor. The Vexor right now is my biggest threat. He's getting a little bit too close for comfort. So I've killed 2 comets, and I'm about to kill a Kestrel. The Vexor is getting way too close. I do not like that. If he ties me down, he's going to be able to tie me down for a long time, which means by the time I kill him, I'm going to have every other frigate in this plex all over me. Lucky you can't warp within a plex. So even though we're 200k from the entrance, those guys can't warp to us. So that's awesome. So right now I've lost all my drones. You can see I'm still trying to keep the Vexor interested. And I'm trying to watch for a frigate to come in after me. I've got some drones on me, but they're marginal. They're not enough to be of any concern. So right now it's just waiting. I'm waiting for another frigate to isolate himself from the group. You see that Fed Navy Comet started charging me, then he backed off. A lot of times what people will do is they'll come at you, then back off, hoping that you'll chase them, and you'll chase them right back into their blob. But if you learn to watch for it, you won't get caught by that trick. It's pretty easy to see them doing it. So now we got an Atron coming in. So at this point, the Atron's far enough off to where I can start thinking about approaching. There we go, we approach. Because the Vexor's at 90. Atrons usually aren't tanked all that well. If he keeps charging, I get a couple hits, I'll take him down. But you see what happened there. As soon as I started going towards him, he turned away. And he's flying me back into, it looks like the Griffin and the Caracal. I'm not sure. So I stopped chasing him, and I just start moving off randomly into space here. Roughly towards things I can align to. That's a good idea. Go towards something I'm aligned to so I can warp out if I need to. The Griffin's back in. Now the Griffin is pretty much a fight ender, so I get out. I don't want to fight a fight where I'm jammed the whole time. Now, as you'll see, right here, rule number 1, a magician never does the same trick twice. I've found out this to be very, very true in EVE, and especially in a situation where you're kind of like a tricky fit tank. You see we have Comrade Fed Navy. This was the same night as that previous fight, and I think it was like 10 minutes later or something. So I got greedy. I was like, adrenaline was rushing. I was happy. I thought that last fight was awesome. I killed like 3 ships, I think, and got away from all that, 7, 8 people they had there. So I was pretty psyched. I want to kill this Griffin, but he warps before I can kill him. So now I'm just trying to kill stuff as it comes to the gate. But what I was saying before, you never do the same trick twice, because these are the same guys I've already fought. And they know my trick. They know that, for 1, I've got ASB tank. And for 2, that I try to burn off with a micro warp drive. Right? So what happened is a lot of them went into the plex, and they warped off, and now they're going to come back at me. So I wasn't expecting it, and they played it well. See, I figured they were all inside the plex waiting, and I would just wait outside the plex and try to kill them as they came in. But right about now, I'm realizing I can't lock them before they warp. So at this point, there's a little cut in the video where I stopped it and I burned away from the entrance some. I wanted to kind of let them warp to 0 in the entrance and then burn out to me, and I'd kill them as they came in, or at least isolate them 100k off the entrance. So they would still have to warp to this gate. They couldn't warp directly to the guy, which would give me some time to fight. Hyena's on me, and I was hoping I could kill him, but it seems like I can't track him, and I can't hit him at that range. I've got barrage loaded, but I'm still not hitting this guy, which makes me miss my Stabber Fleet issue, because the Stabber Fleet issue gets that tracking bonus, which means I would have been much more likely to track this guy. Right there, I missed an opportunity to get newts on him. He's moving fast enough to where my warriors aren't really doing too much DPS to him. But now the big problem is it's not just him. Here come all his buddies, and I guess they can warp directly to him or something because they're here. Atron's on me, Hyena's on me, Fed Navy Comet, Kestrel, Griffin. The Griffin's back, Vexer, Algo, same guys. They were all just trying everything they could do to get revenge on me after the first fight. I should have, like I said before, instead of doing the same trick twice, going back in, I should have backed off, went to another system, found a different group to fight, and kind of started fresh. I would have had a better chance. So right now I'm doing everything I can to try to fight these guys off of me. My priority, if I can, is to lock up the Griffin and get my drones on him. If I can get my drones onto the Griffin, then I can chase him off. My drones will do enough damage to him to eventually force him off the field, which would then let me kill some of these frigates. Problem I had with the Vagabond is that even though it tanked very well, and you see this problem through all these videos, is that it could not track the frigates. So flying in the faction warfare here, tracking frigates was such a pain. You see right there, I locked the Griffin, I got my drones on him, and I got jammed. Doesn't matter, because now I've got my drones on him. So I'm going to do my best to try to stay alive here long enough for my drones to force the Griffin off the field. Trying to use my tank as sparingly as possible, get the most out of it. And basically I want to stay moving in one direction if I can, but it's not going to make a big difference in this fight because I'm scrammed, I'm webbed, I'm damped, I'm tracking disrupted. I'm pretty much dead in the water right now. There's no way to get away. But I'm going to keep trying. So never give up. But in this case, because I do have somewhat expensive implants, once I see I'm going to die, I'll stop caring about what happens in the fight and start focusing on selecting an item and spamming warp. Because my implants are worth about 300 mil, I think. So I know I'm dead. Select something, spam that warp, get out of there. I lost the Vaga. It's what, 200 mil, something like that. No reason to lose the 300 mil in implants. So you can see you're not always going to win. You're going to make mistakes. People are going to have some tricky stuff they're going to do. They're going to get away with stuff. But I think in the end, the final lesson that I can say for me from watching this video is to be careful about frigates. Don't fight the same opponent twice. If he's smart, he'll kind of counter you. And finally, if you can, try to focus in on cruisers. Your ideal prey here is going to be solo anything. Any one ship by itself you can probably take. In general, there's going to be obvious exceptions to that, but a solo battle cruiser you could probably take. But a grouping of, say, 3 or 4 Tech 1 cruisers, that would be a really ideal fight for you. The DPS is a little bit heavy, but if you can tank it for just a little while, just long enough, you'll be able to kill several of them and then whittle the DPS down to be able to fight more. So maybe not 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 decent Tech 1 cruisers would be a really great fight for this ship. All in all, my biggest problem with it that I would address, that I would love to be able to address better, is the lack of ability to kill frigates and how it suffers at that. The Newt helps, but it doesn't actually solve that problem. So you can see in some other fits, I try to counter that, some other ships that I fly, but it's still a problem. As you'll see in the Cyclone video, I still have a problem with frigates. And the reason is you can't fit a web because you're putting everything in your medium slots for tank. So it makes it very hard to fit a web. But nonetheless, it was a lot of fun making these videos and making all the videos here. So check out the next video in the line here. I think the next one's going to be the Drake guide, and I hope you enjoy it.